Okay, so I think we can start. So thank you everyone for coming. I'm Eleonora Gandolfi and this is my colleague Rose Lowe. And I just want to quickly explain, actually before starting, how many of you are first year PhD students? Okay, how many second year? Oops. How many third year? Okay, so and how many of you have already had an experience of going abroad or experience of partnerships? One? Okay, so the idea behind this meeting was actually to talk you through which are the opportunities for you. And when we talk about developing international partnerships, it's just not about, it's about your personal development. It's about what you can do to have a better result in your PhD. What you can do to be sure that at the end of your PhD you actually have more opportunities to work for a postdoc, to find a lectureship, or even your personal development. So the idea was just to bring everything together that we do at the International Office and give you an overview of what you can actually do while you're here. So just talk you through what I'm going to be touching. The University Strategic Research Group, Worldwide University Network, and other opportunities like overseas exchanges. And I just wanted to ask how many of you know what USRGs are? None of you? Let's take a start. So USRGs are coming from the idea of this advisory board, this sentence that's taken by the European Union Research Advisory Board back in 2004. So it took, so we are 10 years later, and it's still quite valuable. So the solution to many of today's complex problems in areas such as globalization, environment, health, defense, and security must by definition be addressed using interdisciplinary approach. So what the USRGs are doing are actually creating groups, putting people together from different disciplines to work in an interdisciplinary environment. And you're going to be, I'm sure you already heard about the difference about multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary, what the multidisciplinary research week was and what the interdisciplinary is. And the difference is just, it's like tiny, and multidisciplinary intends that you're actually working within your own environment and you kind of share results with someone else in a different discipline. They use your results to build something else. Interdisciplinary means that you also share knowledge and understanding of subject, and you literally work in a constructive way with other disciplines. So it means that you, as a researcher in social science, work with someone in ECS or in humanities together to have results, working on the same project. So what the USRGs decided to do is bring those people together with a common interest on a specific subject to work on projects. So at this point in time, the university has 11 USRGs and 2 different institutes. And the difference is more, USRGs are kind of startup projects. So just at the beginning of collaboration, while institutes already have a lot of collaboration underneath, so they're kind of sustained by the researchers, and they are bigger and they have bigger funding. How they are set at the university is going to change this year, because as you know, we changed the Pro-Vice Chancellor internalization. So it's going to change. They're going to be less USRGs, they're going to be only 8, but they're going to be more specific. And just what I wanted to ask you is just think how your research can actually fit in one of those USRGs. Just try to see if from the list you can kind of pick where your project could actually fit. Can you find at least one USRGs where you can actually might fit in? So I add at the end a link on our website where you can actually find information on what each group is actually doing, currently doing. There are blogs, there are different websites. So please, when you finish after this session, please go and have a look. And if you're interested in a project, please contact the people that are involved and say that I actually would like to join the group. Just to be in touch with what is happening. And after this, it's a kind of the base of everything else. And in theory, it's what you should think at the beginning of your PhD. But even if you're at the end, you can actually think where I can take my research, how I can take it forward. And so what I'm going to be touching now about is Worldwide University Network. How many of you knows what WN is? That's good. So for everyone who doesn't know what WN is, WN is a network of university. There were 18, 19 when ESA, that we're going to talk in a second, apply for funding. But literally our university, they put the forces together, the researchers, because they want to work together on challenges. So those are actually the universities that are at the moment in the network. We are planning to expand, but there are always changes on partnerships, and there are a lot of universities that actually collaborate with the network, but they're not member. They are what is called WN+. So they are all partners that are involved in different projects. So please have a look at the website later and just have a look what is happening. So what WN it is, what it does is kind of collaborating. And what they want to do is they want researcher, and you are a researcher as a PhD student, to work together across discipline. And as you can see, interdisciplinarity is coming back without distinction of where you live in and which university you're part to. They want to have work in a collective environment. They want you to move from one university to another one and collaborate, go to workshop, work together, have Skype meeting, and actually learning. Because you are the next generation of lectureship, hopefully, lectures and postdoc. So as I said, the WN is working on global challenges. There are 4 global challenges. The first one is global public health and non-communicable disease. It could be responding to climate change, understanding culture, and global education and research. As you can see, there are only 4 against our 11 USIGs. But still, I'm sure you can find that your research might fit in one of those 4 global challenges. So start thinking about where it can actually fit. And one opportunity that WN gives you is through the Research Mobility Program. So those are people that have been previously awarded on WN. They went to another institution, they work on a project, and then they came back and finished their PhD here. So it's not that you can just go and finish your PhD somewhere else, but you can actually acquire, or you can build your network and you can acquire knowledge and come back and finish as you want to do. So if funds visit to go to a WN partner that is not UK, so you can't really go to Sheffield. They don't want to go to Sheffield and spend 6 months there, unfortunately, no. We wanted to go internationally, so everything is outside UK, up to 6 months. Doesn't mean that all scholarship and all funding are covering 6 months abroad, but if there is a reason for you to stay 6 months in a different institution, we can fund it. It's open to PhD students and early career researchers. So in case you already know or you're applying to be an early career researcher, a postdoc here next year, you can still apply even if you're your 3rd year PhD. There is no distinction of disciplines or field. Doesn't matter what you're studying. If you're studying oceanography, archaeology, computer science, everyone is welcome to apply. And what we actually wanted to do, we want to establish a research link. So it's pretty much to do research. And what you can do, you can actually discover something new. New ideas, new techniques. If there is someone is working on a technique that you can't access here, welcome to apply and go to a different institution where there is someone is the best, I don't know, researchers in this. We wanted to expand your research network. We wanted to go abroad, meet other early career researchers, because they're going to be your colleague in the next couple of years when you're going to be a lecturer. So we wanted to establish a series of networks that is your individual network, but it's also a network until while you're here is also the Southampton network, so you can involve more people and more researchers there after you moved away doing your things. We want to strengthen your career profile so that when you finish your PhD you can actually prove that you learned something that was not available in Southampton, that you make your CV stronger. You can study environment, new environments, and experience a different completely geographic area. So this student especially was management student. He used to study China market, so he just went to Nanjing University when he was a partner university to study how it worked, the Chinese market over there. And you can learn in world-class facilities. So if there is a university that offers equipment that we don't offer, that they have, and they know exactly, they have the expertise on how to work with this equipment, please go learn, come back, and you can always teach here, and possibly, I don't know, you can have teaching hours. How the application process works. There are 30K each year for those fundings. They cover travel, accommodation and subsistence, so nothing about laptop, you can't claim it back. Nothing about equipment, because usually that is a faculty or consumable if you're doing an experiment that can help you. And there are 2 deadlines, one in November and one in March, so one is just passed, but you can still think to apply to November. There is an internal committee there, there is an internal panel that actually decided who is going to get awarded or not. You will need to have the approval of your supervisor and academic unit, because you're going to be away during your PhD. Because you're PhD students, we actually want your supervisor to contact the other institution. So it means that what happened in the past is that the PhD students applied, and then he went to another university, for example, I don't know, Sydney. At the end of his PhD, the students moved to Sydney. So it means that we lost the link, but because the supervisor was still involved in the project, it means that he had supervision while he was there, when he came back, but still the link between academics and between institutions continues, so we sent more students after this exchange happened. And all the information always on the website, so please refer to the website for any inquiry, so if you want to have more information about it. So if you're funded, you will be notified. You have 9 months to start your exchange. You will be actually given contact details of the other university, or try to explain to you how it works in that institution, in the way to how to arrange your trips and your accommodation. And once you will return, you will need to complete a feedback and a report. That is quite useful for us, because in this way we can prove to the University of Southampton that actually this program is really valuable for PhD students, and it's something that you actually looking for, and they actually have output and results that we can use. And we also want to keep in touch with you, know what's happening after the funding. And this is because possibly you're coming back from the exchange, and then everything's going to get quiet, and then probably apply for different funding, and in a couple of years' time, even like in the long run, we can still prove they're still producing outcomes, even if you're not here, or even if you're a postdoc. So for any further information, please contact me. We have a Twitter account where you can follow us as well. We also ask our students that have been awarded while they're on exchange to tweet about the experience, what they're doing, what is happening, if they're setting any meetings, so we can catch up what is happening. And I just wanted to introduce a previous student that got previously awarded to go to Auckland. Is that? Yes, please. So she's just going to talk about what does it mean going abroad, and how it is actually useful for PhD students to go abroad. Sorry to drag you.
No. I think I'm selling the product here. So I will just tell you guys, you would have to be insane not to do it. Like literally, this is the most amazing opportunity ever. And if you think that there's plenty of funding options to go abroad, then you're very much wrong. This is literally one of two in this university. So you either do this or you do nothing. So I went to Auckland in New Zealand 2 years ago exactly, and it was a fantastic experience and a great kind of push in my research, and there are several reasons why I would be more than happy to do it again, but Eleonora told me already 3 times I cannot do it again, sadly. You can do it only once, so be prepared. Well, first of all, think about it this way. How often does it happen that somebody says, oh, you want to go to New Zealand? Let me pay your flights. This is not that. I mean, if that happens very often to you, then, wow, I would wish I had parents like that. So one of the greatest things, I probably shouldn't start with that, but whatever, is that somebody pays you to go to another country where normally you would pay a lot of money to fly them, and you can just take a week longer and explore that country. So we spent 6 weeks in New Zealand, and one of those weeks we just went traveling. So that's extremely cool, because that doesn't really happen very often, that somebody pays for stuff like that. But more importantly, it looks amazing on your CV if you say, oh, I have a collaborator in Auckland, New Zealand. If you say on your CV, I have a collaborator from University of Southampton, that's still good, but that just means, all right, she just went down the corridor and knocked to somebody's doors. It's not the same as saying, oh, I actually have international collaboration within my portfolio of work. And this kind of interaction, it's not something that happens like easily. It's not something that that is easy to acquire. People normally ignore their emails. If you send an email to a famous professor somewhere in the States, the chances you're going to get a reply are pretty much 0. But if your supervisor sends him an email saying, oh, I have this student, and somebody will pay them to come to you and study with you, then they're much more likely to respond to that and actually get you on board. So since Auckland, 2 years ago, we started a collaboration with one of the students at the University of Auckland, and since then we started the blog together. We chaired several sessions at different conferences. We are writing 3 papers at the moment, and it's all happened only because we packed our bags and went to New Zealand. So all of this is just amazing for your research, amazing in terms of getting a different point of view from a different institution, not sitting within the same research group all the time, just listening to the same people over and over. It's fantastic for collaborations that lead to papers and a bigger recognition, and it creates a network, because since 2 years ago, some of the people we interacted with in New Zealand, they actually changed universities. So now we actually have connections to Stanford in the US, to Yale in the States, and still to Auckland in New Zealand. So, like seriously, you would have to be crazy not to do it. Also, it's really easy in terms of admin. Eleonora just sorts it all out, and it takes no time. I don't think I spend more than half an hour on doing all the admin for it. So it's really no investment and a lot of gain.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, just I will be here, so just watch me and I'll answer them all. Also, Eleonora's usually way more informed than me.
So do you have any general question on WN USG's funding before we move to the next one?
Yeah. What was your topic, I suppose, first?
Okay, so that is the best joke ever. It sounds really dreadful, but and none of the coordinators should hear it. But so I went there with a colleague of mine. We're both archaeologists, and we went to New Zealand, which saw the first humans about 600 years ago. So my topic was the lower Paleolithic, so lower early Stone Age in Central Europe, and my colleague's work was on South Spain in Roman era. So we had a little bit of a chat with the people in the customs. They were like, "Are you crazy guys? Are you literally crazy? You're coming to New Zealand to study something that didn't even happen here." But it doesn't matter, because the people that were there were the right people. So it's really important to find somebody that you're going to click with, and it will be useful for your research. So the people we met there were very much into modeling and creating simulations, and that's how our work, kind of got together.
And the things you did there, you could put into your thesis in some form.
Oh, absolutely. It was just a straight chapter into my thesis, no problem. And we went with this idea of hopefully that will happen, but I know people that just go to, whatever, Australia or somewhere, and they're just going to do their data collection there. Or they go on a project where they do a very specific thing. So we went with a fairly vague idea, which we're going to do, and it still worked out fantastic. So, yeah.
Any other question? Okay, so thank you. If you're planning to apply, the first step for you, would suggest you to go back to your supervisor and with a kind of idea what you would like to work on. And the first thing that you should do is just ask them, do you know anyone in one of those universities in the network that could actually help me to work on this? This is your first step. But in case you don't know anyone in one of those universities, or your coordinator or your supervisor doesn't know anyone in those universities, the second step is just have a look on their website. Find if there is anyone who works in an area that could, interdisciplinary way, can actually help you. So something that even you can't have here, because if you have it in Southampton, it's quite, your application is not going to be that strong if the best person working on a specific topic is in Southampton. Why do you need to go in Sydney, or why do you need to go to the Chinese University of Hong Kong? But if you can find someone there or an expertise that is not offered here, please feel free to apply. Just search on the website. I'm sure you're going to find millions of people that could actually help you in your project. But if the university that you would like to collaborate in is not one of the list, and maybe it's in Europe, there are other opportunities that are actually available to you. And now I just wanted to invite Ruth. They're just going to give you an overview on exchanges.
Great, thank you, Eleonora. So, my name is Ruth Law. I'm the Exchange and Mobility Manager in the International Office. Typically, I do this presentation to undergraduate students because we have a lot of exchange agreements around the world which are beneficial for our undergraduate students, and the undergraduate degree does lend itself to some flexibility in order to go overseas. However, we do have some exchanges, and Eleonora has pointed out to you the Worldwide Universities Network. We have exchange agreements with them, and there's also other opportunities within Europe that we felt not really engaging you guys and your level of study, and that's a real shame, because there's a lot of opportunities for you to go out and benefit from these opportunities as well. Hence today's presentation. So I will go through and give you an indication as to why you should take part in exchange. Now, we do talk a lot about a global mindset. Having experience overseas is very attractive to future employers, which I'm sure you're all aware of. I'm sure you're already very mature and independent, self-sufficient people, but other opportunities are being able to live in another culture and not just be a tourist, which is extremely beneficial, I think, because you get to experience life a lot better if you're there for longer than a few weeks. And the making friends and networking, again, Eleonora has pointed that out to you, very beneficial for your career prospects, your research. So our exchange partners are split between different categories. So we have our university-wide exchange partners. They are partnerships that could appeal to anybody in any discipline around the university, apart from medicine. I hasten to add, medicine doesn't engage in our exchange programs. And then, so with those, we have the three that I've listed. We do have more, but these three specifically, the top two are WN partners, and they have specific opportunities for postgraduate students, PhD students, to embark on exchange opportunities with them. Unlike Eleonora's scheme, because it is exchange, it is based on returning students. So we negotiate, when we have an agreement with the university, we negotiate a certain number of exchange places. So we will take students from that institution and we hope to send students out. So we're always looking to maintain the balance. So places are, to a certain extent, dependent on what the balance is at any given time. So I just want to point that out to you. The other exchanges that we have are the faculty-wide ones. So they would be exchange allocations that are awarded on a competitive basis, and those places have to be shared between a couple of faculties. Then we have the academic unit exchanges, where the actual exchange places are ring-fenced for each academic unit, so they're not competing with anybody else for a bite of the cherry. They have been given a certain number of places for that given year. And so within those, the academic unit exchanges, we have both exchanges outside of Europe and within Europe. And the European exchanges have a particular name. They are the Erasmus Plus programme. You've probably all heard of Erasmus. It's just been given a new lease of life, and it's now been given a new name, Erasmus Plus. Really inventive of them, but it's a new programme for the next 7 years, and that deals with just partners within the European community. We also have summer school opportunities. So whilst we're not terribly active in offering summer schools, I think we've just got one started up in humanities, but our partners find this an extremely successful way of offering opportunities to incoming students. Typically you might have to pay for some summer schools. However, for a lot of our partners, because we might not have been very successful in sending them students on a semester or a full year basis, they often offer us free summer school places, and they would be open to you as well as any other student in the university. So if you find that you can't get away for a full semester, your schedule doesn't allow it, but you want to go to a particular country, then this is an opportunity to do that. So, money, the really important question. There is some money available. The Erasmus scheme, which is actually operated by the European Commission, that offers monthly grants. So they don't have to be repaid. They are approximately around £380 a year. I have to say approximate because we never know from one year to the next how much money we're going to get from the European Commission. So based on previous years, it is around £380 a month for the period of time that you're away on exchange. We have some scholarships as well that have been awarded to us by Santander, so Santander countries, and specifically USA and Brazil are included in those. We have some funding this year, £500 per student. We're hoping that we secure the funding for next year as well. It's an ongoing basis where each year we have to try and secure the money for those, but we've had it for the last couple of years, so we're hopeful that we get it in the future. And we have the Exchange Scholar Programme as well, so we've managed to secure some money from the Student Centredness Fund to send our students out on the university-wide exchange programmes that we have. So the ones that I listed were University of Sydney, University of Western Australia, and also Adelaide. So they would be included in this. We'd be able to give you a minimum of £500. I think this year we actually awarded some students around £800 or £900 for those students that were going out. It's basically, we've got a pot of money, and the amount of students that apply for it, we then just divvy it up between them, with some considerations to whether they're going to a really, really expensive country or not. So that's the funding that we're able to, to award you. Practical matters, I had a whole slide on this, but I figured that mature students like yourselves probably have considered most of the practical matters involved. Obviously it's things around accommodation, whether you need any visas, you're making sure that whatever you're studying overseas is part of your studies back here and will be recognised, because that is the general basis of exchange, that you are going in order to do some form of study or research project that obviously can be brought back and credited, recognised back here at Southampton. And obviously within that, there's in the initial stages of deciding whether you want to go out on exchange, you need to have that discussion with your supervisor, tutor, whatever, academic member of staff, to make sure that they are in agreement with you going. So in terms of finding out more, we have our blog site. You'll find, I'm afraid, that most of the blogs are from undergraduate students. However, their experiences are relevant. So we've got students who've been out on exchange and since returned, and also ones that are out there now. So it's really interesting to have a read through some of their experiences, and we've got them to put that on the blog. And there are contact details. I might just try and get onto our website actually, and also show you where you can find the information about which exchange opportunities would be relevant for you. How do I get back to Eleanor, the technical person? Just to the website. Thank you. So this is the international homepage. From here, if you scroll on down to Study Abroad and Exchange, and then you can either look to see who our partners are by country or by subject. So if we go by country in the first instance, we've got them all listed there, and you'll notice that the Erasmus ones have got Erasmus next to it, so nice and simple. Which one should I pick? If I go to Norway. Okay. You'll notice that University of Bergen, we have exchange agreements in history, philosophy, law, maths, economics, earth science, marine biology, politics, a whole host of opportunities. Now next to each academic discipline you'll notice that there's a UG or an S or a PGT. That would indicate that the agreement is suitable for that level of study or that member of staff. So if you see anywhere it's got PGT next to it, then that would be open to you, for you to be able to undertake a period of exchange with them.
What is the S stand for?
S is staff. So we have some agreements where we've agreed to do a staff exchange, so they'll actually go over there and they'll teach for a certain period of time, and the beauty of it is we get partner institutions to send a member of their staff as well. It's really useful. So this is all on our Study Abroad and Exchange website, where you can find out information about all the partners, and also the summer schools are on this tab here. So they're listed by region, and also the blogs. So it's all there contained in one place. Some of you, when you came in, I popped a brochure on your table. For those latecomers, you wouldn't have got one. So before you leave, if you want to pick one of these up, it's got our website details on the back and contact details as well, in case you haven't had a chance to take note of those. So please make sure you take one of those before you go. Does anybody have any questions about the exchange opportunities? Yes.
People who start working as a lecturer
Yeah.
can work these research exchanges as well. Some lecturers they do also research.
Yeah. It's these types of things are never cut and dried, and the beauty of it is that we have quite a good relationship with my counterpart at the partner institutions. So if you had something that you wanted to do and you could detail that, we could contact them and say, would it be possible? So whilst on the list it's for the partners, it's got UG, PGT, S. Don't let that restrict you. That's just a guideline. If there's somewhere that you really want to go and there's somebody you want to work with, and there's a real opportunity for you there, then yes, that would be possible. We just have to talk it through. Yeah. Yes.
Is there any restriction that when person gets on nominal in the PhD, so in the nominal period you can't do the exchange program, or is it open throughout you're a student? Nominal period is when we are not paying the university anymore, because the PhD reaches a certain point where you do not have to pay.
Yeah. It really just has to be based on when is a good time for you to go, to be honest, and at that point whether there's an opportunity for you to go, whether there's an opening, whether the partner institution is able to accommodate you. So that really would be the only restrictions. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
So just to summarize everything, so I hope that you had an overview. Well, first of all, that you learned something that you didn't know already before you arrived. So we just wanted to give you an overview of which are the funding opportunities that were available to you. So we touched something that was as a WN research base. So funding actually covers you everything to work on a specific research project, to something like these exchanges where you don't need to have a research project already in mind, but you can just go and use those opportunities to kind of extend your partnerships and your network of people that you know already. My suggestion as a PhD student here, because I'm also a part-time PhD student, is just be clever. Try to be clever and try to make the most out of it while you're here. Try to use all the opportunities that you have to learn something new, to meet new people, and if there are funding that can actually help you to do it, please do so. And especially with those exchanges, so you can actually stay abroad for a longer period of time. It's true that not everything is covered, but it still helps you to build something. It's more like a tiny effort now that can actually let you to bigger opportunity in a year time, 6 months time, who knows. So please make the most out of it. And I just wanted to leave this meeting and just start to think where you can fit with something that is already happening at the university, whether your research can actually be part of a group, where you can make most of the things that we already offer you. And please feel free to contact us. So in a week time, in a month's time, after the summer, when you think, oh, I have this project, what can I apply for? Just have a look on the website and just contact me, contact Ruth. If you're thinking to wanting to go to one of those universities, please do so, because it's actually the last opportunity as a student that you have to progress. And if you have any other question, I don't think so. If you think about anything, just drop us an email, follow us on Twitter. The Exchange team has a Facebook page as well, so you can be in touch and just use a social network. It's easier. And feel free to network now and meet other people. Have a coffee, please. And thank you for coming.